because you are the ones in charge, y'all. Get in here, get in here. It is the most fantastic that we can bring, honestly. Like the best kind of show I think we can bring, Benson, is to be guided by the chat and show up in the ways that they need help so we can help them get over the hump in their business. How are you doing,
Oh
Benson?
yeah. I'm good. I'm good. I'm actually sitting at a new desk I just got off of the TikTok shop. It's one of the up and down ones, electronic one. It was 80 bucks.
Ooh,
It was only 80 bucks, like nice
that
electronic
Black Friday?
standing desk. Yeah, standing. It's the electronic one with presets. I just put it together. It's like good quality, and I'm stoked to use it. My other desk was all just standing, and I had to sit on a stool. It just wasn't
Oh,
great for the back support. So I invested in this $80 stand-up desk. It's pretty cool. But I'm sitting right now.
I'm a little jealous. I want one with the walking pad. Have you seen those?
I have.
I work so much. I'm like, that is the key to getting as skinny and fit as possible.
You could put a treadmill underneath this thing. You could totally do it.
I think that's so cool. Well, solid like early Christmas present to yourself.
Oh yeah. It's a write-off too. And a lot of rich people are going out and buying planes for write-offs, and I'm buying tech talk desks.
I think you have the upper hand there.
Yeah.
Who's out there buying jets, huh? When they could be buying properties from me.
Yes, I don't know. The write-offs, and they rent them out. They make money off of them too.
Oh my goodness. The like private rental jet market. Like, I'm not going to stay on this long, but I just learned about it. And it's not that expensive to just get yourself a seat on a private jet.
Really? I've never looked at the prices, but I mean, if there's more of them out there, all these billionaires and millionaires are buying these jets as write-offs. There's more supply out there, so the prices are coming down. That's good.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I'm all about that. Welcome, everybody. If you're just now joining, we're of course waiting for you to get in the door because today you are in charge, and it is going to be Q&A all day. I first want to ask, before we jump in, and I ask you guys a few questions so you can guide us through how we want to show you Privy. I want to ask Benson, what you doing for Thanksgiving?
Well, I am going to my dad's house, and we are going to be cooking Mexican food. We're not doing the traditional turkey this year, so I'm excited about that. We're going to be doing green chili and burritos and rice, and uh, we're going to cook chili rellenos and not quesadillas, enchiladas. So I'm excited. Right after I get off
Yeah.
here, I'm going to the store to buy all the stuff we need.
Oh,
How
that's
about
that's
you?
the worst part of Thanksgiving is
The
the
shopping?
getting all the stuff with all the people. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be a little
Um,
stressful,
I
but it's
guess when you
better than
only have
Christmas
one
shopping.
Walmart in the middle of nowhere, everybody only goes there. So it's a madhouse.
Right. Yeah, you're just scared of who you're going to run into, like some old college friend or high school friend. You're like, oh no, they're going to just talk the whole time.
I luckily don't live anywhere near I went to school, so that's the beauty of it. But I am a realtor, so the amount of like little old ladies I might know that just want to talk to me forever in an aisle, I actually get a pretty good amount of that, which is a blessing and a curse.
Yes. Well, at least you can see both
But I'm
sides
gonna
of
have a
it.
great Thanksgiving. My husband and I are not cooking. We're going to the hot springs and they're cooking for us buffet style. And then I'm gonna soak and relax. It's gonna be fantastic.
That sounds amazing. Well, you deserve it. You deserve a nice break from being prep woman, and then just going and sitting in the hot springs. That's going to be a blast. It's a
Thank you.
nice
I think,
romantic time together.
yeah, I didn't even look at it like that, but that's true. It's gonna be good time together where I'm not working, which is
Hmm.
again something I'm working on my own balance for.
Awesome.
Welcome everybody. If you're just getting here to Wholesale 101, it is hump day right before Thanksgiving, and that means we're going to let you run the Q&A and tell us how we can be most helpful using our favorite tool, Privy. We're going to be focused in Privy, so if you don't have it already, I highly suggest you get it. And luckily, we've got a promo code just for you. If you use one of my favorite last names, Damji, in the promo codes, you're going to get 30% off the annual plan or 20% off your first month if that's the route you're going to go. Let's start with, I'm curious, what area would you guys like us to dive into? Well, actually, chat, are you ready? I hope you're paying attention. I want a 1 if you're new, never done a deal before. I want a 2 if you've done 3 or more deals, just so I understand where everybody's at.
Okay.
Nice.
So mostly
Okay,
ones.
cool.
Oh, Kalen's at 1.5.
Nice.
That means you probably had a
One's
deal and
closing.
then had to cancel because didn't have buyers. I don't know what 1.5 is, but that's my guess.
My guess is they're going to have one close this month. They're just halfway there.
Mm,
I
okay.
hope. Looks like we've got a lot of newbies though, so this is fantastic. You guys have my heart because I took a really long time to learn wholesaling because I didn't have the kinds of softwares like Privy, and I didn't have the kind of community like Astro. And once I had those two things, they took off. So as much as we can help you, that really is my passion here. So the next question is going to be, where do you feel like you need help in your business? Is it on the agent act side, or is it on the dispo buyer side? A for act, B for dispo. Let me know where you land. Ooh, I got a dispo. Like that. Comping, very cool. Okay. We definitely will basically comp either direction we go because we want to
Yeah, it
know
looks
how
like it's a
buyers are
good
buying
mixture of both.
both.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's start by just showing them how Privy works, and how about we dig into one of my favorites, the Colorado market, to start. And then we can just have the chat call out if they want to see us jump to a different one.
Okay. Yeah, Mark Grauer was the first one with a market, and it was Oklahoma City. So we'll look at that one next.
Cool.
However, so if you're brand new to Privy or you just want to get a refresher, when you first log in, this is what you're going to see. This is the coverage map. This shows you where the data is coming from. And one of the things you want to be aware of when you're choosing a market is, does it have direct to MLS data? Now, we're the only platform that has direct to MLS data. Some of the other great platforms out there of our competitors don't, and they do other things well, and that's all well and good. But when you're comping, which a lot of people here that's a challenge for, you want to be very cognizant of making sure you've got the best data that's available, the most accurate, timely, and that direct to MLS is the source. And so wherever you see blue on the map is where we have that. We've added a bunch of new markets. We've got New York City now. We got Greensboro, Winston-Salem. We just added Detroit. We added another 2 or 3 markets in Florida. So we're adding more and more. It's well over 100 direct to MLS markets now. So, we're
Wow.
getting the areas that have the highest investor activity and the areas you should consider investing. So if you are in an area where we don't have direct to MLS like Portland or Seattle, those are going to come eventually. They're just not high investor activity areas right now. So they're not a priority for us, and maybe they shouldn't be for you either. One of the areas that has direct to MLS is the Colorado market. We've got 2 there. But we want to also look for investor activity. So when you're looking at for deals, it's gonna be way easier to find deals. It's gonna be way easier to comp properties. It's gonna be way easier to find buyers, right? So 3 of the main problems you guys are facing right now, you can solve by choosing the right market. If you choose the wrong market, those 3 things are going to
Mm-hmm.
be a lot more difficult. So if we click this button right here that says fix and flip, this is going to plot on the map where all the high investor activity areas are at. So wherever you see big blue circles with high numbers has higher amounts of investor activity. So if comping is an issue for you, then you don't want to look in areas where you've got a lot of different kinds of houses where everything's different. So you want to be in big cities, right? When you're in a
Mm-hmm.
big city, you have more homogeneity in the housing. It's more similar. Also, you're going to have more activity there just in general. And there's going to be
Yeah.
more people buying properties, and you're going to have more investor activity. So choosing the right area will solve many of the things that you're putting in the chat right now, or that are your troubles. Right, Corianne?
Absolutely. And I think one of the big things is knowing one market incredibly well is going to help fast track you. And so this allows you to make that decision. Because I think one of the hard things is you're like, there's 2 or 3 different markets I'd love to jump into. And you start to kind of look in both directions. That's going to slow your traction in comparison to utilizing this to go, okay, like look at how busy the East Coast is. So you can start to dive in and go, well, what's happening in New York? Choose one and then know those building types and the things that are going on in that one market. So when Benson asks, like, what are the different types of builds that are happening there, you would know, because this is the data that's going to give it to you. Data,
Definitely.
nerd data. That's what I'm all about.
So, so look at lots of areas here that you could go to. And so just make sure you're focusing on higher areas, right? Some people have asked me, like, well, how much activity is enough? I don't think there's like a threshold per se, but what you can do is just compare markets to each other. So if I was going to choose a market in Colorado, I would choose the Denver area more than I would choose Colorado Springs, because there's just a lot more going on here. But if we drill down a little bit closer here, we'll get to see more clarity on like where specifically in Denver the activity is. So as we drill down even more, we can see that we got these 2 big clusters that we get a little bit closer, and they're going to break up into smaller clusters. And then we'll see, right in here looks pretty good, right here or over here off of Colfax, 2 areas that look pretty good. So if we could drill down right in here, and this is going to break up into smaller clusters. And now we can see all the activity. So look at this huge area right here, Corianne. That's super hot. And this is actually kind of in the area we were just talking about, around Denver. Actually, maybe not. It's a little bit further south, but like here's the Highlands.
Southwest, but that's actually, people want the Southwest. The closer you get to the mountains, the better. So this is aligning with my personal market knowledge of this area.
Yeah.
And what are we looking at right now? We're looking at already flipped or like uglier properties?
These are already flipped. So red means sold.
Okay.
So when you click the investor activity button, it's going to show sold flips. So that's the goal here, is to find all of these properties here. Every one of these is a buyer. Every one of these is going to inform you on what a deal is in this market. And it's also going to show you who the investor friendly agents are. But in my opinion, the most important thing here is that I want to be able to use these houses as comps to prove after repair value for the ugly house that we're going to find. And that's how we prove after repair value. That's how we can comp a property out and confidently know what the after repair value is. And then if we know what the after repair value is, then we can back out our costs and our profits to figure out what we should offer on properties. And without being confident in your after repair value, you can't figure out what to offer, which is one of the other problems, is that we come across a lot of properties we just don't know what to offer because we don't understand the real value of it.
I think that's so cool, because other services will show you solds for sure. You can see what areas are active, but are they active in investor activity? I think is like something that is really unique to Privy, that it automatically can show you that based off of just the data of the time that was held and then resold. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. And there's a lot of great education. I mean, Jamil is one of the best educators in the world, but he is not, tracking every single market. And so he doesn't know necessarily like what a deal is today in Denver versus Tampa versus, say, Philadelphia. It's always different. So this is how you can educate yourself on the real estate side of the business and knowing what a deal looks like. And that way, when you come across an opportunity again, you're going to understand what to write the offer for, and you're going to feel confident in taking action. So let's look at this one right here. This one just closed a couple days ago. And this is the comparative market analysis. So for those of you that are having trouble with comping, Privy actually comps for you. And we give you the ability to customize the comparables and make them your own based off of the current situation. So this is the comparative market analysis for this property. And then down below here is the remarks. If you're licensed, we can show you the private remarks as well. That's like showing information, maybe stuff about the house itself. If you're not licensed, unfortunately, we can't show you that. Same thing with the agent and office information that goes to licensed individuals. And then here's the comparables. So this is an 1,800 square foot property, and we already pre-comped it out. So we've hidden a lot of properties that aren't true comparables right out of the gates. And you can see those just by coming in here and clicking the all button. And that will remove the algorithm and show you everything that's in the area, even if it's not truly relevant. And sometimes that's nice. So you can see like, okay, well, like there's a house that's like just outside of what Privy considers to be a comp, but this is a big time saver. So you don't have to come in here and do it yourself. It's all automated.
I just want to emphasize, like, huge time saver. Myself as an agent who can access this stuff on the MLS and has like fancy Zillow and different resources, still I use this. And if you guys don't have it, I'm not quite sure what you're up to, and you probably should get it. So DAMG is going to be the promo code, 30% off the annual code, and then annual package, and then 20% off your first month if you decide to go that route. I really believe in this being the first thing to actually invest in when you're ready to make that jump. And if you don't have it yet, I'm at least glad you're here so you can learn about all the cool things that it can do. I know that a few people are curious, if we back out, what are some of the other filters there that are automatic and what do they mean? And while they're doing that, I want you guys to know that I spent time actually calculating how long it took me to do it versus Zillow and Privy. And it's about 15 minutes to find the comps that he can do in 30 seconds or less. It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And again, you're licensed and you've got experience. So, you have the ability to do it within 15 minutes, but most people on the call don't have much experience. That's all can come, very quickly. You guys could all figure that out, but it's access to the data, right? So the MLS again it's very manual process. This is another thing that's proprietary to Privy is the before and after. So this is what the house looked like before they flipped it. Looks like they bought it in what is that? August, and they just sold it in November. So pretty quick turnaround. They got it from the MLS because you can see here they got this. Here's the MLS ID. They bought it for 380,000, sold it for 610. They had a gross profit of 229. So they got it at 62% of the ARV. And that's again from the MLS. They didn't have to market and spend a bunch of cash. But here's the after product. So they get rid of these ugly
somebody I would want to call, because if they move properties that quickly in just 2 months, then they move a lot of properties. That's what you know.
I think you're exactly right. And that's GTG Ventures. So GTG Ventures is a company that is doing flips. We know they're buying and they're doing them quickly, which means they're pros. Then that's going to be a better or a higher quality buyer for you on your list. If they're doing lots of deals per year, then there's a big demand for properties and they need help. They need help sourcing these deals because they're in here swinging hammers and doing construction. So help them.
I'm more than happy to help them for that paycheck. And I can't believe how quickly we can find out that company name. And then there's a few different ways you can utilize that data. One is taking it to opencorporates.com, just putting it in there and then looking for who the owner is, and then taking that to True People Search. And now you've got a number to potentially reach out to this particular buyer. Other ways are like LinkedIn and some of those things, but I've never been able to get to the exact type of right buyer I want as quickly as Privy allows me to.
All right, I apologize, guys. I'm actually in the process of canceling a deal. Unfortunately, I have it under contract that the numbers aren't going to work. So we have to cancel it today before Thanksgiving, unfortunately. So cool.
Always
so G
and a part of the business that everybody has to get used to.
yes, canceling happens. But again, when you know your numbers as well as you should, this is a way different kind of deal. It was like a big corporate rental package deal that we just didn't analyze properly. But this here, when you're looking at houses that are in the city, they're a lot easier to determine the price. So again, and a deal for GTG is up to 62%, at least in the right scenario. Also, too, if you're looking for an investor-friendly agent, the agent who represented GTG is Tammy Merrill. So Tammy Merrill is an investor-friendly agent who might want to work with you too.
Mhm. I've actually called a lot of agents in that situation and found that they're actually connected to the company that does the flips. And that is a really great resource to have, is somebody that is both a licensed agent and a flipper that takes on multiples. Whew, those buyers
Mm-hmm.
are gold.
We also too have agents up here. So this, for those of you, some of you might know Angie. She's in the sub two community. Um, she is one of the agents that is a Privy user that has raised her hand and asked to get clients. So there's a bunch here that are agents that are potentially you could work with. They've raised their hand. They're investor friendly, and they understand how to use Privy too. So there's a bunch of them here, and they give their contact information right in the system.
A couple people have called me the Privy girl, and I still learn something every single week. Like, I did not know you could hit that arrow and get more agents.
Yeah, yeah, and you can pick the
Oh,
area, and then you can
fun, like
change who
surprise
you
things.
use. Right. So let's say I was like, oh, Angie and I, we had a falling out. We didn't. But
Mm.
let's just say I wanted to use Brett. I can come in here, I can do Brett, and then I can select him, and then he'll show up at the top up here. And so, but it doesn't require you to work with Angie or Brett. It's just their information is accessible to you, and it's just a good way of starting a conversation. And you'd be like, oh yeah, I saw you in the Privy system. It looks like you work with investors, right? That conversation is going to be way easier for you in trying to get them to work with you than if you just cold called some agent off of here, which I've done before too. But we give these to you guys.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
if you need more information like the private remarks, to even find out whether you want to talk to any other, like dive in deeper, they're the people to do it because they understand what you need if they have Privy.
So, if you are going to do some off-market marketing, again, this is going to be the area where you're going to want to send that marketing material. That way, if you find an off-market motivated seller, you're going to be able to more easily offer them a good price because you've got all of these flipped houses in the area, which raises the potential after repair value of a house, which also pulls up what your offer can be and have the numbers still work for you as potential wholesale deal and also work better for the end buyer. So there's more margins there. But if you're in an area where no one's flipping, then you have to submit those lowball offers. And that's when you have
Mm.
those homeowners that are offended by the lowball offers, or they're yelling at you to get off their lawn or whatever it is that's happening. You can help to prevent that by making offers in areas like this. And then over here on the filter, this is where you can come in and you can pull um, different lists. And we give you up to 10,000 per month, but you can do stuff like foreclosures and vacancies, tired landlords. So there's no shortage of both off market leads here for you or on market leads, depending upon where you are in your business. Sometimes it's easier. There's more low hanging fruit with on market because you don't have to be an expert marketer. You don't need a budget. You don't have to be a good salesperson. You can just write offers, and you could write many offers a day, which is a challenge when you're doing mostly off market, right, Corian?
Yeah, because this sending you your filters throughout the day saves you so much time because it's already saying, hey, this is what you're looking for. So here's some deals that might match. And then you get to jump straight into the money making activities because we know that this is a monkey push button kind of business. The more that you are calling agents, the more offers you're putting out, the closer you are to a contract.
Oh
We
yeah.
have two good YouTube questions. The first one is asking for an explanation of pop top, tear down, and buy and hold and how those additional buttons work. Um, just so they know, pop top means that you're actually taking off the roof and you're growing it up. So if you're looking at a deal and you're like, hey, are there any buyers that are willing to add square footage in any area? That additional button is going to let you dive in deeper to that kind of buying pool. Tear down is going to be a scrape, is what many people call it. And that means we're going to wipe off all of the properties, and then we're going to build something new on that particular land. And then the buy and hold is just that. You're purchasing and you're holding, whether that be for a tenant or for yourself. That's where you're going to find investor activity around those. And then the
Yep.
second question, I'm really curious what you would say, Benson. Elizabeth is both she's got Privy and she's a part of our Astro Flipping fam. And she asked, what's the first step that you would recommend to fully benefit from Privy? Where should she start?
I would actually just emulate what I've done from the beginning of this call here, which is start off on a kind of top level 20,000 foot view. Look at where the MLS data is located. Click the button that says investor activity. Choose a high investor activity market to start to research. Look at sold properties, the last 10 to 20 sold properties in those hot areas to learn what investors are buying them for, what they're selling them for. Educate yourself on the percentage of after repair value that most properties are being purchased at, so you can figure out kind of a happy medium for that area. And then do your research on who the players are. Who are the ones that are doing the flips? Who are the landlords that are in those areas? Who are the agents that are working with investors? Get those people on a list someplace. Maybe put them in your CRM and start to make some phone calls, have some discussions with these people, get up to speed on what's going on. What are the local market realities there? There's only so many things that data can show you, but we show you who the players are so you can start to have those discussions with the ones that are actually taking action in that market and might know some things that could help you out. And they might want to work with you in some way. There might be a JV opportunity, or find an agent who wants to help you look at properties, or get a second set of eyes on properties that you're finding that maybe you're not 100% sure if they're a deal or not. But if you're working with an agent as a buyer's agent, they can help you with your numbers and make sure you're using the proper comparables. And then after that, it's about looking for leads. What can you start writing offers on? I just showed you how you can pull lists of properties using the filter, but there's also on-market deals. So I can come right down in here into this button that says find, and that says find similar active deals, and that will actually run the algorithm to search for properties that actually already have built-in discounts right in them. And then you can just adjust the filter based off of what you learned by doing the market research. So the standard filter starts off at 75%. But from what I know about Denver, you can probably find properties up to about 69, 70% and still have enough margin there for people to make some money. So I'm going to adjust that.
Yeah.
And then also too, based off of my conversations with my buyers, I might actually adjust the filters to fit their buy box. So what percentage of ARV do they want to buy at? What is their price ceiling? What are the number of bedrooms and bathrooms that they want? So you can build that right in here, and then you can run the search and then also save it to where if you save it, it'll email you alerts when new properties are found that match your specific deal criteria. So check
And
this
for
out.
anybody that's like dipping their toes into this business and still needs to show up to a W-2, that's the secret sauce is to get those, to kind of get that leg up so that then you are really just focused in contacting and offers.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
guys got Privy, Natasha, the fabulous Natasha, just dropped the promo code. It's DAMG in the chat. Copy paste that to get 30% off the annual plan or 20% off your first month if you go that route. And then once you're done getting Privy, come back and give Natasha some love in the chat because she's the only reason this whole thing works.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Natasha.
She's the best.
So this one right here looks to like it might have some possibilities of making sense. It's for sale for 500 grand. And we got 1, 2, 3 properties here that have sold between 725 up to 760. So the percentage of ARV for this house is going to be ranging in that area, but we might have to actually make some adjustments, right? So this is only a 2-1. So this one's a 3-2, which has the highest price. So we have to figure out, can we put an additional bedroom and bathroom in this house? And if so, then we can get up to the 760 mark. If we can't, maybe there's just not enough room or there's no basement, then we're gonna have to make an adjustment and subtract out the value of that additional bedroom and bathroom.
Yeah. And adding a bathroom is one of the harder things to do, or one of the biggest jumps is between that one bath to two bath, because it can change your buyer pool for your buyer. So you're thinking of a flipper as our buyer as a wholesaler, and they have a buyer after they're done flipping. And if there's only one bathroom in there, normally that means they can't sell to a family, because
Mm,
families need bathtubs for a kid and then a bathroom for the adults. So that's always something to kind of consider their end goal and what your buyer is normally like catering to.
yep, exactly. So that's all good stuff to be aware of too, because those are the local market things that you can learn from doing JVs with people who are already in the ground in that area. So that's something that Corianne knows by just kind of doing deals. Um, Another thing that is helpful is that we showed you the GTG company, they're fix and flippers, and we showed you that deal they got at 66%.
Mm-hmm.
But also in this area, and again, when these high investor activity areas, there are lots of rentals. So right here where it says rentals, I can click that and that shows me all the rental properties that are in the area. And so every one of these people are potential buyers too. So these are
Yeah.
all people who own rental properties that would want to potentially buy or sell, right? Investors, people have portfolios, or both are buyers and sellers, depending upon the day. If
Mm-hmm.
you are in the sub two community or you're doing sub two, this is the data that you're going to use to try to determine what the cash flow is on a particular property. If you do creative financing, seller financing, sub two, this is that data. And all of this rental data actually comes from property management companies. So we partnered up with some property management companies, and they help us to find this rental data, and it has really good photos. It isn't some sort of like estimate from Zillow or Rent-A-Meter. These are the actual rental prices. So this is
I
one
think
I
this
would
is so
I would take a
useful
stab at.
for myself, because I look at people's deals nationally, even though I only really work two markets, Colorado and Florida. I use this to let them know whether it's even worth looking towards buy and holds or anything that isn't flip quality. If I'm not seeing purple, I move on.
Oh,
It's such a
really?
useful resource. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's my buyer pool. If I have something that is a buy and hold in any given area, I'm going to start calling those people.
Oh, yeah. So here's another one. This property right here, it's higher priced, 599, older home, good size, built in 1908. And if we come down to the comparables here, we can see the comps and lots of sales activity here. Look at all these sales.
West
32
Highway.
solds, 4 active, and also some rental comps too. And look at some of the prices over here. $1 million homes all over the place, and all similar
Yeah.
to our subject. And we can get this for 600,000.
Hmm. See, this is so fun and so useful. And you can really dial down and get into the nuance to like lock that ARV. And then that's going to tell you how to get your MAO, which is your max allowable offer. We've got a few addresses and locations popping up. So how about we Carmen San Diego this and start to hop around the map? Are you ready, Benson?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Somebody said, can we check out Oklahoma City, I believe. So if we can pull
Yeah.
one up there and comp, that would be great. And then we're going to run over to New York. And then I also saw Tampa. So let's see what we can do.
Cool. So when I typed the address right here, since we already had a filter that we were running, that filter just
Mhm.
transposes itself right into the new market because we changed one of the filters. So now everything else that was there before is still there, except for we just added on Oklahoma City. So here are some properties that are available in Oklahoma City that are on market, and the Privy is saying these are potential deals. So for the who was it? Gary who wanted Oklahoma City. Here's
Yeah, I
that
believe so.
house, needs a bunch of work.
Hmm.
3-2. Um, let's go down into the comparables here. And this is cool. Check this out. So it's for sale for 89 grand, and 2 of the comps were flipped. So
Nice.
how easy is it to prove after repair value on a house like this if we've got repaired comps? That's the whole point of choosing high investor activity areas. But one of things that Privy has that helps with that is this little badge right here. Corinne, do you know what the Privy preferred badge is?
I believe it means that your ARV or percentage of ARV is so low that Privy prefers it. That was my understanding of it. Did I get it right?
That's part of it. Part of it is that it matches the filter. So I set it at 70% or lower. So anything
Okay.
that's 70% or lower will show. But some of them will have this badge and some of them won't. When the badge is showing, that means that one of the comps was flipped. And so it matches our margins, it matches our filter for what we defined as a deal. But we also can say more confidently what the ARV is because we have these renovated homes as part of the comp set. So we add that badge to help you guys key in on the ones that have the highest potential value. Whereas if that we didn't have that, you'd have to go into each one and then figure out, okay, well, Privy wasn't able to find any flips in those neighborhoods. So it's going to be more difficult of a deal for me to understand the after repair value, more difficult to prove to a buyer, and also likely an appraiser too to prove because we don't have these comps. But this one does.
The yeah, I mean, to an appraiser is a whole nother kit and caboodle, but having this kind of data set for ARV is so useful on the sales side, the dispo side, because you can go, look, this is a model match if you're lucky. And here's what it sold for, and here's how you can make money. Somebody else did right down the street. And buyers love that. Show them where they can make money. That's a good sale. I almost know where I would call and try to purchase this almost immediately just by taking a glance.
Okay.
Um,
What would you offer in this house?
how long has it been on market? Last thing I need to know.
1 day.
1 day. Okay.
It's here
That's
on the
going to
market
make it
today.
a little bit more difficult, but I would be aiming for 55,000 to 60,000. So
Okay.
I'd probably start at 50 in my conversations, and then at most I would let up to about 60,000 because I still need to bring value to my buyers. And what that normally means for me is if it's been on market, I want to be about 20% lower than list price, just so that I can bake myself in and show value. In this case, it's first day on market. So that makes it a little bit different because if I can lock it up on day one, and still give it off to a buyer lower than list, it's a win. So
Mm-hmm.
purchasing at max 60, so that I could push it about 70 and look at the value that I can bring.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I put that in the chat for everyone. So if anyone wants to take action on this property, there it is right in the chat.
Thank you. That's so useful. And for anybody who's like, how could you get to a number that quickly? I'm using the two flips that I see here. That's the 2517 Northeast 14th Street. And where it sold previously to its flip price was 51K. Then I've got another one where it sold previous to its flip price at 110K. And I'm looking between those two. If I wanted to go deeper, I would start to see what did it look like in the before pictures between those two prices. And also because it's listed, I've got to be below that 89. So that's where I come up with that number so quick with just that two data set. Because really, they've got to have motivation. So I better be getting on the phone sooner rather than later. I don't want to be sitting around like mulling over what the right number and ARV is, because the
Mm-hmm.
conversation is also going to show whether or not I'm the right kind of buyer for their situation. What if they say, oh, they've got 20 houses that are all for sale and they're willing to sit until next Christmas until they get the offer they want? Well, you're not going to take my 60,000, so it's time for me to
Right.
keep.
So we can look at the owner here, and this is a family trust. So
Oh,
this
nice.
is a trust. So how is the negotiation different with someone like this who has no emotional attachment to this house? And look at this. This property is actually, when it was purchased, it was part of a multi-parcel sale.
Ooh.
So these guys
Uh,
have money.
you could assume, but I'm
Mhm.
also an arbiter to my mother's trust, and I wouldn't say that we have a ton of money.
Okay.
So, and I would be emotionally attached to selling my mother's house once that comes to me in trust. So I don't quite know, but you're right. The percentage of it probably being they've got more money and that they've got more houses um, is like up in the 80%, but you don't always know. So I would start with the
True.
agent on like, why do they want to sell? Why are they listing? What's going on? Because if they say, oh, they've got to pay for grandma's funeral, who just passed this trust off to me, and grandma's funeral is in a week and a half, you suddenly have some motivation to take my 60,000, which is
Hmm.
a fair valuation given that I can show you that one sold down the street at 51. I'm bringing value to the seller as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's check out that one that went for 51.
Yeah, I'm very curious because if it was like falling off the hinges, that
Mm.
wouldn't match our house.
Well, it was acquired off market, so we don't have pictures of it. And we know it was bought from directly from the seller because it says public records here instead of having an MLS ID.
Yeah,
So they got a pretty good discount here.
a great discount. 36%. But I also don't know Oklahoma City so much. I'd have to go back and look at buyer activity to see where most people are buying. I would guess
Mhm.
probably like 50-ish% is what's happening around there, but that's just a guess. And that's why Privy has data.
Yep, absolutely. So this one here, here's another one, a little bit bigger. It's a 169. That's Privy Preferred. See, it's got the Privy Preferred tags. That means one of the comps was flipped.
Nice.
200,000. Oh, I love that design. I actually used to have a house that looked just like that in Golden.
Ooh, ooh. I'm sure that thing is like up in the millions now.
It actually just sold for like 600 and something.
Okay.
It's not downtown Golden. It's like on the outskirts, like off of 32nd and Youngsfield.
Oh, nice.
Applewood is the neighborhood. Oh, look at this one, 95 grand. So something like this I look at and I'm thinking potential rental, but it needs quite a bit. Ooh,
Yeah.
this is ugly.
Perfectly ugly in every way.
Yes.
Let's
And
see.
then the closest sold flip, we had two flips that are like right down the way, one for 160 and 170. So, fit between 59, 56 and 59%. And this one's been on the market for 2 days only.
Will you hit updated so that it shows like most recent sales at the very top? It used to
Hmm.
say sold there, but oh, I think it flipped it again on you. There we go. You can do that on any of those areas, just like a spreadsheet to reset it, which is another really cool, just like low key factor that makes this so simple to work through. If you guys don't have Privy, I highly suggest it. And that's going to get you 30% off an annual plan if you use the promo code DAMG and 20% off your first month if you go that route. But this is a way to really increase your traction quickly. I just wanted to see if there was any shifts because sometimes you can see in April the sales looked different than they're going to look this fall, but I don't see many
Hmm.
shifts here. We're still in the 165 to 170 pocket, um,
Yeah.
which I feel
Yeah. Agreed.
pretty confident in. We're at 3-1. That's the only thing I'm seeing that shifts things is that we've got that one bath or any of the comps a one bath.
Um, yeah, a little further down.
Okay. Mm. So maybe that's what makes the difference between whether you're sitting at the 160 or the 170. But that's what I would do is take that like highest 170 and then I adjust for the bathroom and I do land at 155, 160 is what I would expect my buyer to say ARV is.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would definitely try to lock that up. One, because it's so perfectly ugly, but it looks like they've got it priced as if it were a cosmetic flip more than if this ugly of a flip. So I'm curious, if you go down to the properties that were purchased for 70K, are they this ugly, or were they a little bit nicer? Because we had a
Well,
couple
this one right
comps that were like
here on Terrace.
before. For anybody tracking, we click the little eye on the spreadsheet under comps, and then we
Mm,
pop over into what that comps data is. And now we're going down to before and after so that we can see what it looks like before, generally get a feel for it.
yeah.
That was
Right over
sold off
here, here's a
market.
little information icon. This one here hides it. This one gives us a pop-up so we can see the CMA for that subject property. A lot of direct seller acquisitions happening in Oklahoma City.
That's a good thing.
So this is part of the education you guys can get by looking at this investor activity is stuff just like this. Or what percentage of ARV are they buying at? What source are a lot of people buying properties for? And this one right here was acquired off market as well.
Okay, so we can't really know what's going on the inside, but this is a nice brick, longer layout. And from the outside, it doesn't look like it was completely trashed, and it sold closer to that 70K mark. So my guess is, like, at absolute max, 70K is probably the max allowable offer. I'd come in a little bit lower than that to bake myself in.
Okay. Well, I put the link in the chat for anybody who wants to take action on this one.
And by take action, that means it's already time to call. Like, just out of what we've seen, we can see that it's Privy preferred. There's activity in the area. So the next thing that you need to know to really lock down your max allowable offer is motivation. You need to know what's going on with the agent, what's going on with the listing, what's going on with the seller, because really our job is to bring value to the seller as well. And that means we need to know what they need in the long term. So
Mm-hmm.
start those conversations if you want to jump on this one with the listing agent. And yeah, I saw
Yeah.
a New York one, and I am so jazzed that New York is now on Privy that I think we should jump over to there.
Do you have
Because
the
I
address?
struggled in the New Jersey market. I jumped out of there after a little while because I there wasn't enough Privy in my opinion. Yes,
Mm,
it is 544 West 144th Street. More fours.
right here.
Uh, New York, New York. Yep, that's the one.
Oh, you're welcome. So what's
I
the story
got you,
with this
girl.
one?
I'm really curious. Feel free to drop us something, Shabral, if you want to tell us a little bit more about what's going on. But off market, that's already exciting.
Yeah, off market. Let's go into settings here. I'm going to click all here just to see all the activity in the area.
And we might need
It's
to be
not a
looking at
ton.
condos as well, not just single family. Do we need to add that in the settings?
It says from the county record data,
Oh,
it's telling us it's SFR, but
my bad.
um, it could be condo. So we could switch over to condos or attached. Actually, I think I might have to uncheck. Nope, there it is. Yep. So we're
Huzzah.
getting more sales all around the subject. And then we'll sort by distance here. Here's some of those sales. I mean, there's quite a big range here.
Yeah. Just to let you guys know, especially when you're dealing with neighborhoods that are so specific, like a New York area, you can use that little pencil tool to circle areas to make sure that you're kind of staying within that. Where the box is already doing that for us. But if we needed to just make sure we're in Harlem, um, that would be able to help. And that little pencil tool is on the top right of the map.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this might be a thing right here where you can't say cross like this road right here. So we can draw and then maybe chop it off on 155th, come down here and just create a more relevant comp zone. And it will eliminate anything that's outside that zone and just show us the stuff that's inside. And that automatically saves into the comparative market analysis too. So if I were to come in here and add this to a list so I can come back to it, maybe I want to create a new list in NYC deals. So now I have a new
Fantastic.
folder and I can save it in that folder and come back to it. And this, it'll be saved the exact same way I'm leaving it right here. I don't have to click a save button or anything like that. And if I were to share this with somebody, click share and email it, when they open it up on their end, they're going to see it just the way that I set it up.
It's one of the coolest things for my team specifically because I mostly am working AC and marketing. I have somebody else who works a lot of our dispo and our comps, and he can send me a Privy link just like this, and I can see what comps that he left in the field and immediately know why he had chose his numbers. So it's a great tool for communicating by the fact that it saves it like that. If you guys don't have Privy, just a reminder, we've got a promo code for you. It's DAMG. That'll get you 30% off the annual plan or 20% off the first month.
We were just informed by Chabrel that it was 511, not 544.
Oh, did I read it wrong? Can I not read? Oh no, that's on you, girl. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's dive in deeper. I'm glad to see that there's some more info here. And congrats on your listing.
Yeah.
Let's see. How long has it been on market? I missed it.
197 days.
Okay. And it looks like we're still in attached mode. So in settings, is it showing that we want to see attached?
This is listed as a multifamily property.
Oh, okay. 8 bath. Well, okay. Yeah. 8 units. Goodness gracious.
Is this actually 8 units, Chabrel, or is it just 8 baths?
Yes. She clearly wants too much if it's sat on market for 197 days. That's sometimes, and I've definitely heard Jamil say this one on his calls too. You can call back the agent and go, has your seller come to terms with the actual value of this property? Because just like Chabrel knows that her seller wants too much. She's sitting in a situation of having to both appease that listing and try to get it sold. And you're going to run into a lot of agents that are in that situation. So you want to be on their side. They're going through it too. So how can we approach this to best show the seller what's actually going on?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's dive in.
Was there another address that we wanted to look at?
Oh, on this one, can we see comparables for the 511?
Yeah. So let me adjust this here. Is this multifamily or is it single family, Chabrel?
I think it's definitely multifamily, but I don't believe the 8 unit part. Oh, it is
It's
8 units.
8 units.
Okay, multifamily it is. Gosh, we look like Westerners right now. Both in Colorado. We're like, what is this?
Yeah, so there's not a ton of sales in this area. We got 1 6 unit that sold for 1.9 million.
Mm-hmm.
We can go further back in time with multifamily. You can go further out, but New York City, I wouldn't. But you can go further back in time too.
I would go like in this situation where I don't see a lot of comps, the way that I would best work this deal is go to the rentals, see who's holding those rentals, call them and ask them what they would pay for 8 units.
Ooh,
because
I like that
I,
angle.
other than that, you're not going to get something that's like this particular unicorn. So you have to go straight to like the end source to find out what they want. Because many of these, yeah, most of them, if not all of them, are going to be apartment buildings. Somebody owns those.
Oh yeah.
That one's fancy.
Mm-hmm. Looks like a studio. I've never lived in a studio before.
Oh, I did it my sophomore year of college. It was so
Did you?
sad. Yeah, right after it was just kind of sad. I was always there alone. And right after that, I swung the other way and I lived with five guys. Also, not a good choice.
Not, yeah. Went from one extreme to the other.
No joke. No joke. Yeah, Chabrel, I think that's the route to go to like get this sold is to find the buyer that's probably out there renting something. But feel free to call or text and we can also brainstorm some more because it's a unicorn. And when somebody sends me a unicorn, for the most part, I'm always going to say pass as quickly as possible because there's a specific property that is wholesaleable. And those are always what I'm after.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had one in Tampa we could jump over to. Let's see here. Yes, 3206
Mm-hmm.
E for East, like McDonald's, Berry Street in Tampa, Florida. McBerry.
MICK.
MC and then Berry, like a McDonald's. That's where you're getting the Mick. Here it is.
Mm. Oh, Mick. MC. All right. So it's
Off
in an area
market.
that
That's
would
exciting.
a lot of activity in this general area. Um, Here's the comparables. Jackson Heights. There is a flip that's a comparable that was purchased for 100 and sold for 265.
Hmm. It's a little old for me in comparison to the subject. I like to stay within 10 years on both
Mm-hmm.
sides of the date if possible.
So what do
Which
you
is
do
why
with if
I'm
those
always,
sales don't exist?
will you go to settings and then hit my
Mm-hmm.
two favorite and hit all and investor only? Only rentals. Interesting. Just all. Ooh, it's a hot rental market. Okay, let's go back to the reset so that it's the Privy comps again, because you're right. That's the only thing that's pulling up. I might personally, because I know Tampa, I might push my field of comps a little bit into that neighborhood because I know you can. You're not crossing over that major road. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but let's see what we can find.
Now let me sort my distance here. So there's three flips that are comparables.
And they're all older. That's interesting. Well, that's I guess where's the 2-1? Yeah, there are three that are close in comparables. It's hard to nail down an after repair value based off of this because the building is newer. But let's say I don't need to do that in this moment. I just need to find out whether I can get this under contract in the price range that makes it a potential good deal. And I see a sale of a 2-1 at 137, ugly. A sale of a 2-1 at 100, ugly. Sale of a 2-1 at 125, ugly. I'm personally going to start with the lowest number because I want the best deal for my buyers and I want to make some money. So I'm going to start calling this person and asking them if I start with a number that starts with a 1, are we even in the right ballpark? Would they consider
Mm.
100,000? And they might come back to me and go, well, we consider 120. And I'm like, great, I'm still within the field where I believe this could be a good deal for my buyers. Now I might go to my buyers and lock an ARV to make sure that my buy price is correct. But starting at 100K is a very reasonable offer based off the comp fields I have. And convince me otherwise is how I approach an agent, and not in a rude way, but in the way of they need to sell a property more than I need to buy a property. There are plenty of properties out there I can buy. I've got the money to do it. You've got to sell me on why I would do this one. And so that's like how I'm going to approach it starting at 100K. I hope that's helpful to our friend who dropped this property. Just a
Yeah.
reminder that particular one was dropped by somebody who's working it. So it is theirs. You can't go after this particular one, but there's abundance in the markets. So don't worry about it. You can go using Privy, find yourself a deal. And if you don't have Privy, I suggest using the promo code DAMJI so that you get that 30% off the annual and 20% off the first month.
Oh yeah. This lastly here before we jump off, this is one of the comps that was flipped, and they bought theirs right here. They got it for 137, sold it for 220, or it's under contract for 229. So the
Ooh.
buyer on this deal could be a potential buyer on the other one. That's Riverside Heights Capital. Butchered that, sorry. And
No.
and this one here is, well, it's not for sale yet, but they potentially in the right situation would go up to 137 on this house, less the value of a bedroom. But they actually were able to add a bedroom to this house. They went from a 2-1 to a 3-1.
And I think that's such a smart move for this particular property. They're probably going to do some kind of addition play. But yeah, you're right. That's in the window. They might purchase as far up as 135. If I've negotiated it down to 100 or even taken their counter offer at 110, that's a pretty nice paycheck that I get to bring to my team. All right, everybody. I am in shock that it is 2 p.m. I did a terrible job of time management today, but I really enjoyed our fireside chat vibes today. Thank you for everybody
Yeah.
who made time the day before Thanksgiving. We are really wishing you a wonderful day with your family and even better times in your business for the end of the year. Thank you, Benson, for being here and showing us this
Yeah.
wonderful software.
No problem. Thank you for everybody that took the time. Thank you, Natasha, and thank you, Corianne. I hope everybody has a wonderful time with their family over the holiday. And then, yeah,